Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Galuf. Now, Galuf is somebody that I got him on his initial LD release. I maybe used him just like once for his Lufenia and then barely used him. I'm going to tell you all this, DE9 gave me a whole new appreciation for this man. He is ridiculously good, ridiculously important for Shinryu era. The thing is garbage time I think kind of lulled us all to sleep a little bit, and we forget what like true difficult content really looks like. And when you get like I remember back in the day when turn counts really mattered. In garbage time, you just like you were crushing turn counts. It'd be like, yeah, beat it in 70 turns, and okay, I beat it in 8. Like it's not even close, right? Not even close running out of skills. Now that we're entering Shinryu, like the difficulty jump is going to be huge. DE9 showed us that turn count is actually a thing again, and you have to fight the turn count. And counter characters or off turn damage characters really help you with turn count. So Realm, Edge, Galuf, those are 3 recent character guides I've done that. These are characters that will really help with that. So Galuf, if you're not familiar, is a cover tank character with counters. So he's very good. Those of you familiar with Gladio, the reason why he was so good back in the day, actually Gao and Gladio, both of them, back in the day when they first dropped, that was back when content was hard. And having them as counter tanks was really important to beating things in time. They're also very good for boss rush because it gives you basically free damage that doesn't eat up your turn count. So Galuf is a very worthwhile character to invest in. If you pulled him and maybe you weren't sure what to do with them or weren't sure if you should invest in him, he is very much worth investing into. He's very good, and we're going to see that in this video here today. And then also, if I do get a DE9 run out, you'll see that in that video because I will be running him on that team. But let's go ahead, before we get too much into it, let's just start with his artifacts and his spheres, and then we'll do the little showcase on him, right? So artifacts are pretty basic. You either want to go attack 108 and buff attack up, which is going to be just the all attack route, or you can mix in an attack 108 max brave 330 if you want a little bit of max brave on him. That's totally up to you which way you want to go. But at least getting the attack 108, I would say, is pretty important on him, right? Then for his spheres, he's got 3 different spheres. So he's got an A, B, and a D slot, okay? So on the A slot, attack and brave damage, once again, is pretty good on a damage dealing character. With a character like Galuf, though, you could go with a more brave gain centered focus. So Aroha is actually a pretty good brave gain sphere if you wanted to do that. So what it does is every time he does a crit, he's going to get a little bit of brave gain, and it's going to be based off of his max brave, right? So if you're going to be taking this brave gain approach in the artifacts, I'd go attack 108 max brave 330 for sure if you're doing more of the brave gain route, since this some of the brave gain could scale off of max brave if you're going to go with a Roja sphere. So that's one way you could do it, because all of his counters then are going to trigger a Roja sphere, and then he's going to get more brave gain off of that. But you could go the traditional attack and brave damage route as well. That is also fine. For the beast slot, you do have some options, right? So you could go more attack route, or you could go more brave gain route. So I happen to put his own sphere on him. There aren't a ton of evade characters in the game, so when I got his, I just threw it on him right away. So when he evades, he gets a 10% attack buff. So it is a very good attack buff for an evade sphere. I definitely recommend putting an evade sphere of some kind on him, just because there aren't a lot of characters that can use them. So Edges is good if you like the brave gain route. So Edges is the same thing, but it's for brave gain. So Edges says when you dodge, you get the brave gain. So if you want to go more brave gain, you could go ahead and do Edge and Aroha. The thing to keep in mind is Edge's brave gain scales off of I brave instead of max brave, so it might not be as potent, but it would still be, by chaining those 2 together, you could get some decent brave gain, right? And then on the D slot, once again, I think Ash or Hope are really good generic ones you can put on. I put Hope on there. He does work for Waka. I happen to be out of Waka spheres at the moment, so Waka, Hope, Ash, anything like that that's going to give you attack for the party, I think would be good there. All right, so let's go ahead and hop into the showcase. This should be a fun one to do. So we're going to hop in. I just did this showcase for Edge, and these bosses are quite aggressive, so I think we will definitely be able to show Galuf off here quite a bit. And you're going to see the damage he does is pretty darn crazy. So Galuf does start with his LD buff fully intact, so you don't have to do anything right away. Basically what Galuf does is he puts cover on his allies, so any attacks directed at them individually, he will cover for them and tank, and then he will counter basically. So let's go ahead and get Cissnei going here. We'll just go and throw this on. Now, Galuf starts with 2 free turns right off the bat, so you don't have to use LD right away. You can kind of decide how you want to use this. So cover, basically what it's going to do is the first time you use it, you just target one ally to cover. Sorry, battery low, but we'll fight through here. We'll be fine. We'll get through the video before the phone dies. So right now, if I cover, I would just choose one ally to cover. Now, they're already covered, so I don't really have to do that. And when you're looking at cover, it's this little symbol here. It's the one with the little shield on it. So you can just very quickly see at a glance if your allies have cover or not. But you want to keep the allies covered at all times, especially when you're using Galuf, because you're typically going to use him in fights where the enemies are very aggressive, and you want the enemies to attack a lot. To get the most out of Galuf, you want the enemies to attack a lot, because the more counters he does, the more off-turn damage you're getting. So he doesn't synergize well with a character like Sephiroth or delay characters that are going to push the enemies back. If you're running a delay strategy, then don't run Galuf. You want, because his like actual attack damage isn't that good. Like when I press Shiradori, it's decent, but overall you're not going to meet turn count by just pressing his 35 or just pressing his LD. The way you meet turn count is you let his crazy counters go off that do a ton of damage, right? So for the first free attack, let's do we're going to use the AA. Now, the AA, he's only got one skill use of it, so I think it makes a lot of sense to use this on a free turn. It does recover ability uses, which you might think I'm wasting it right now because I haven't used an ability yet, but it's worth using right away because it comes with a very good party buff and it lasts 13 turns. So now I've got it up and I still have it again to use later. Then what I might do is I might just hop into like the Shiradori. That's his basic like in between turns attack. You see 400k isn't the worst, right? It's a decent little attack, but that damage isn't going to carry you. But what's going to carry you is now here the enemies are taking a bunch of turns. So I'm actually going to let Realm like not swap turns. We're just going to do a regular attack. And then we're going to let these enemies take a bunch of turns. And Galuf from his LD gets this really big fat counter, which you're going to see here in a second, which is really good. He also has physical evasion. And so if he evades, he actually gets 2 counters. So watch this. This is an evade. So watch what happens here. He gets final strike. This is the LD counter. And that sucker's pumping out 500k. So he's getting 500,000 damage on that. And then when he dodges or dodge counters, he does have a chance to do a regular counter. So sometimes he'll do it, sometimes not. But look at this. The enemies are taking a bunch of turns, and he's just tearing them up. And guess how many turns that cost me? That cost me 0 turns. Like, no turns. So each of those counters, he's putting up 500,000 damage. So he just did like 1.5 million for free without taking up a turn at all. So that's why Galuf is crazy. That's why he's so good. Just the show he put on there with me barely pressing a button. Like literally Galuf can sit on the screen without me pressing a button, and the enemies can do that. Galuf is a character you'll see like single really hard fights. Like he can solo fights because of that. The other thing I haven't even shown you yet is so he's got another free turn here. This one now is from Rem, but we'll show you the LD. Okay, so let's put the LD on. So the other thing that happens with the LD buff is he's also invincible. He can't die. He's got the Arden effect. So what'll happen is now that he's got that LD on, you'll see his health starts to drain. So it drains his health. It doesn't affect you for like health requirements. You can see that take damage requirement. It doesn't count for that. It's only if the enemies hurt us. So that you don't have to worry about that, right? And then because he's one of these tanks, he's going to provide like regen for the party. So he's going to slowly regen the health anyways. But the thing that's crazy about Galuf is he's cover tanking, so he's going to cover everything for your allies anyways. Any single target, you literally can't die because Galuf is going to jump in front. Even if he takes HP damage, he can't die. So it's just crazy, right? So normally, like with Rem here, you actually don't want to swap turns. You want to let Galuf get hit. So what I'll do is I'll just do an HP attack here. And then we'll let Galuf go ahead and take all this for us. And once again, he's just going to counter off like crazy. And that's really all he is. I haven't used his 15 CP yet, but it's just that cover ability, right? So you can use the 15 CP to refresh cover. But honestly, depending on the fight, you might be able to just get by with using the LD. You might not have to touch that 15 CP button at all. Because the LD, it's going to apply cover to everybody. And it's going to give them invincibility. And it gives them that final strike counter, which is just really ridiculous, right? The other thing I should mention about the cover, the 15 CP, after you use it once, so we'll use it here so you guys can see it. I do want to use the EX, but let's use cover once here. I would choose a character to cover. So let's cover who's got. They're both the same. We'll just cover Cisne. It upgrades to the plus version. So now for the rest of the fight, if I use cover, it'll do cover all and we'll be good to go. Oh, and of course, Galuf gets petrified, so now he can't counter. And actually, we lost because of that. So very, very fun. Sure, let's go ahead and continue. That's fine. Sure. I forgot that I've done so many showcases on this fight, you guys, and I've never gotten petrified. And then all of a sudden, I think it was during the Edge showcase, he got petrified. And I'm like, what? What is going on? I didn't even realize they petrified. I think you're supposed to bring Lena or something into here or something to negate it. But yeah, whatever. We just got unlucky there. That's fine. Let's go ahead and do this. So Galuf now is reset, which is fine. We'll go ahead and swap into him just to finish the showcase here. And actually what we'll do, yep, let's just swap into him. Because we should have the EX up. Because that's the one thing I did not get to show was the EX, right? So the EX basically gives him a powerful, we'll use this here. Gives him a Soul of Dawn buff. And basically it gives him 60% evasion. So he'll have a general 60% evasion, and I think he has 100% physical evasion, if I'm not mistaken. So he's got evasion baked into his kit because, yeah, he's going to evade most attacks now. Because if it's not physical, he still has a 60% chance to dodge. So he's going to dodge quite a bit, right? Let's go ahead and reapply the LD again. But it's just a 4-turn buff. So you usually want to refresh that EX when you can. And then it's like 30% HP damage down and then brave damage reduction for the party, which is really good. So it's a very good buff that you want to upkeep. It's going to help keep your party safe, right? We'll go ahead and do this. And then, yeah, that's basically Galuf in a nutshell. I had to pay 100 gems just to show you the EX. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. All right, what I want to do is I just want to get the enemies some more turns. So we'll just let Galuf show off a little bit more here. And I want to let this last attack with the enemies come through. Providing, of course, they don't just instant paralyze us again, which I don't think they will. They're doing single target right now. So yeah, we'll go ahead and just use this. This also gets a plus version. It just makes the potency a little bit better. Nothing too crazy there. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and we'll just go ahead and attack. Get to the enemy turns as fast as possible here, right? Okay. Oh, yeah. So what I said before, one thing I should mention. So I mentioned before how sometimes Galuf will double counter. That actually comes from the plus version. So let's use the plus version of this and see if we can get double counters. Okay. All right. The double counter, like the extra counter isn't like crazy strong. It usually only does like 100k damage. But let's see what happens here. So here's the final strike counter. And then there's the regular counter. Yep, you can see 131k. So the plus version of the 35 is how you get the double counter. So it is nice to make sure to get that applied so that you have it. And there we go, another double counter. So that's it. And I'm pretty sure if he dodges, he gets the double counter is how that comes. I don't think it's actually random. I think it's every time he dodges. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But yeah, there you go. There's Galuf. Very, very powerful character. Definitely recommend if you guys happen to pull him. Like I said, he is worth grinding up. He is worth putting on your team. He's going to be very good in Shinryu. So if you're someone that like wants to prep for Shinryu, characters like Realm and Galuf and Edge, who all have banners right now, I would say pick up at least one of those. Maybe pick your favorite, watch my character guide, see which one you like. But I would try to pick up at least one of those to help you through Shinryu. So anyways, guys, there you go. If you have any other questions on Galuf, please let me know. I have a Discord in the comments. If you want to go ahead and check out my Discord, hang out in there. We can chat. I can help you team building, whatever. So appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you all in the next one.